Chapter 161, Going Overseas for a Competition. The next day, Anran went to school as usual and Mojin called after her. Lan Anran. Anran turned when she heard the voice. Boss Mo, why are you here today? Anran smiled brightly as though nothing had happened yesterday. Where were you yesterday? Mojin asked directly. Well, I went home after school. Did you miss me? Anran seemed to be teasing him, but Mojin didn't care. Are you sure you're not lying? Mojin stared at Anran coldly. There wasn't a trace of flaw in Anran's expression as she stared straight at him, her gaze slightly puzzled. Did something happen now? Mojin didn't believe Anran, but he grabbed her arm and held her wound tightly. He stared at her with eagle-like eyes, but she didn't seem to be in any pain. Was it really not her? Hey, are you feeling better again? No matter how much you want to get close to me, you can't risk your life, right? Anran smiled teasingly. Mojin slowly released Anran, avoiding eye contact. It's alright. It's good that you're alright. What happened to you? Anran smiled and wanted to take another step closer, but Mojin took a step back and spoke coldly. Nothing, I'm going to the office. After Mojin left in the car, Anran finally showed a pain expression. She was almost exposed. Fortunately, she was wearing thick black long sleeves, or the blood would have seeped out. She lifted her long black sleeve. The wound that didn't hurt was torn open by Mojin, and fresh blood was flowing out, seeping through the entire bandage. Blood dripped down her arm and onto her clothes. Anran found a quiet corner. Fortunately, she had a habit of bringing medicine, so she changed the gauze of blood and tied it up again. It seemed that Mojin was suspicious of her, so she had to do something to dispel his suspicions. The moment they entered the school, Li Yu saw Anran. Lan Anran, I heard that Lan Yaxin was injured, and she definitely wouldn't be able to participate in the competition. The competition is in Langxi County. Pack your things and leave next week. We're leaving Long City? Anran was a little surprised. You have a problem? Tell us and I will help you mediate it. Li Yu was overjoyed. Previously, she thought that this child was extraordinary, but now it seemed that she was indeed a dragon and phoenix amongst men. Today she even might be awarded the title of an outstanding teacher because of Lan Anran. Anran was about to speak when Zhao Xiaolei entered. Good morning, teacher. Li Yu nodded. Anran, I heard that we were going to Langxi County for the exam. I heard that there's a village of herbs. I have always wanted to go there. Zhao Xiaolei smiled and said. When Anran heard about the village of herbs, she was momentarily taken aback before she smiled. Teacher, I'm willing to go. I'll definitely work hard. All right, let's go to class. Li Yu smiled with relief. Back in the classroom, Lin Cheng leaned over and asked abnormally, Lan Anran, I heard that your cousin Lan Yaxin was beaten and is now lying in the hospital? Anran suddenly looked at him vigilantly. Yeah, why are you suddenly so concerned about her? Nothing, I'm just asking, is she alright? Lin Cheng asked. It's alright, she just won't be able to get up for half a month. Anran spoke indifferently. Oh. Lin Cheng let out a long breath, seeming to be relieved. Anran looked at Lin Cheng and had a pretty good guess. Did you do that? How is that possible? It wasn't me. Lin Cheng walked off as he spoke. Anran couldn't care less. Regardless of who it was, Yaxin's beating wasn't unjustified. In her past life, what she did to herself couldn't be resolved with a simple beating. There were only 2 classes today, and after school, Anran returned to the countryside. She thought about Mojin medicine and wanted to see which herbs were lacking, so she could go to Langxi County to look for them. The reagents in the small room were already being used on the mice without any side effects. Ayn Rand took a bit of reagent under the microscope and observed it. There were still some imperfections. The medicine under the microscope showed that there were many components that could inhibit the flare-up of the illness, but they couldn't completely cure it. Or perhaps they were still lacking something that could stabilize it? Ayn Rand looked at the herbs around her that couldn't stabilize the reagents. She would have to ask her master. She took a small bottle of medicine, returned to town, ran to several shops to buy Shu Shan's favorite things, and ran up the mountain. "Master! Master!" Ayn Rand shouted from afar. Shu Shan was overjoyed to hear this. "My eldest disciple, you're finally here. I missed you so much." He stepped forward and hurriedly took the items from Ayn Rand's hand, extremely excited. "Did you miss me or these delicious foods?" Ayn Rand pouted. "Little one, come over and eat with us." Sun Hai was gathering herbs when she heard Shu Shan's call. "I have to say your classmate is quite talented. She will grow with time," Shu Shan praised. "Roast goose?" Sun Hai was pleasantly surprised. Chapter 162, Chang Shayan. Yeah, the roast goose in the Xia Guan is exceptional. Crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. Fat but not greasy. It's fragrant with the sauce on the lips and teeth. The taste of the sauce and oil exploding in my mouth is endless. Coupled with old wine, it's superb. Shu Shan savored it carefully. He hadn't eaten it in a long time because it was too expensive. Disciples should give these good things to their masters. "Master, I want to ask you something." Ayn Rand went straight to the point. Shu Shan tore off a piece of goose leg meat. "Speak. Do you know what herbs can bring out the stability of other herbs without side effects? I preferably complementing each other to achieve a perfect effect." Ayn Rand didn't think that there would be such a good herb, and the reason she wanted to ask was to give it a try. If there was no such herb, Mo Zhenrong's illness would probably relapse again. Everything in the world promotes and counters each other. Each herb has its nemesis and savior. The herb you mention is rare, but it isn't unheard of. Shu Shan had a good understanding of herbs over the years and knew most of the herbs in Wrong City. The herbs that Ayn Rand mentioned were no longer available in Wrong City. "Master, are you saying they still exist?" Ayn Rand asked excitedly. "Of course there is. Its name is Chang Shaiyang. It looks like a string of coins and is completely green. It has a faint fragrance coming from it and grows from by the side of a bush. The climate requirements aren't high, but it's rare. I went to Langxi County a few years ago and I saw a few. The locals know them too. They're usually dug out to feed the pigs, so I don't know if there's any left." Shu Shan finished the leg bone, placed it on the table, and drank a mouthful of wine. "Langxi County?" Sun Hai was a little surprised. "Wasn't that the location of the test?" "Ayn Rand, I'm going with you to find the Chang Shaiyang." Sun Hai suddenly spoke. "It's good that you're going. Do me a favor while you're at it. I heard that there are a lot of Chinese medicine ingredients there. Little girl, take this as an examination question for you. Bring back the herbs I taught you these past few days. Ayn Rand, you're not allowed to help her," Shu Shan said. "Got it, master." Ayn Rand agreed lightly. "Oh right, Ayn Rand, why didn't you bring the thing I asked of you last time?" Shu Shan asked secretly. "Ah, old man, you can't buy that. It's illegal." "If you really want it, I'll find it for you. I promise it won't be identical." Sun Hai placed the other goose on the table. "Shoo, shoo." Shu Shan was a little shy and walked away in embarrassment. Ayn Rand smiled and said, "Master, I'm going back first. I'll visit you next time." With that, she turned and left. Shu Shan sneakily hid behind the door and watched Ayn Rand leave. He then walked out and asked softly, "You brat, you really can't find it?" Sun Hai laughed loudly. After leaving the mountain, Ayn Rand returned home and heard news of Yan Rand's debut. "Ayn Rand, where have you been? Your brother's going to become a big star." Li Yi was overjoyed. Really that fast? Anran was excited as well. Next, she would have to pave the way for her brother and ensure his success in the entertainment industry. Yes, the manager said that he had arranged a drama for me. Although it isn't the male lead, it is considered the third male lead. There are many lines and scenes, and I'm going to act as a big star with my own personality. Anran raised the script happily. My brother is the best, Anran encouraged. Anran, I heard that your school is sending you to Langshi County for the exam. You must work hard. Lan Tingyong had heard that Wrong City Research Institute had put a lot of effort to select talents, which was even more difficult than before. All right, Dad. It's just after I leave. If Grandma comes over, you... Anran was most worried about this. Zhao Shumi, that old thing, had repeatedly tried to pressure her parents. If she wasn't around, she didn't know what kind of trouble they could cause. It's alright, at most we can split the properties. Your grandma and uncle probably wouldn't agree. Don't worry, Lan Tingyong comforted her. Sis, there are still men in the family. I can protect Mom and Dad, focus on your exams, and get into the research institute. Grandma will probably calm down when that happens, Yanran guessed. Anran nodded. They're leaving in 4 days, and she had to prepare for some things in case Mo Jinrong found anything while she wasn't around. Upstairs, Anran turned on her computer and started spreading news of Q going to South City to confuse Mo Jinrong and give him up on his suspicions. Is there news about Lang Jackson? Anran asked. Boss, we have investigated and found that it was Lin Jikong. Lan Jackson's back, height, and build are very similar to yours. The killer must have gotten the wrong person, and Jackson was implicated, Patty said. As expected of Lin Jikong, she was right. Lin Chen must have known and come over to ask. Got it. Boss, the Mo family's villa may be remote, but it is very comfortable and big. It is much better than our little nest, Patty sighed. I'm going to Langshi County in 2 days. You guys be careful and don't go out without my orders. Especially Fatty. Mo Jinrong is starting to suspect me. You attract attention. So be careful. Anran reminded him. Yes, boss. Chapter 163. Close Contact with Shang Taiyang. Time passed quickly, and it was the second night. It was the day for Shang Taiyang to hand over the goods, and Anran entered the ghost city alone. Skinny, do you think we can catch Shang Taiyang? Fatty asked skeptically. I don't know. We do whatever boss wants. With my salary, I can buy a house in 2 years. Skinny smiled foolishly. How is it inside? Anran asked through the earpiece. There is indeed a group of people trading inside, but I don't see Shang Taiyang anywhere. Fatty looked at the surveillance camera. Shang Taiyang has always done things secretly, and he probably wouldn't do such things on a large scale. Even in the ghost city, there isn't a wall that can be penetrated. Fatty continued to monitor and pay attention to the small alley if anyone is carrying medicine. Anran strode in. There wasn't anything abnormal in the ghost city, but it was much calmer. Anran pretended to be by the roadside, but in reality she was secretly observing the movements of the people around her. At the end of the alley, there were many people waiting in line to get their medicine. Don't worry, take it slow. There's always a chance, Mo-san comforted. Can these herbs really cure cancer? An old lady spoke in a hoarse voice. Don't worry, old lady. These herbs are real and definitely not fake. You'll know when you try them, Mo-san comforted her. I'm giving it to my son. He's been in pain for several months and the doctor said he can't be cured. He's my only son, and if he recovers, I will definitely come back to thank you. The old lady spoke sincerely. Don't worry, it will definitely be useful. Young master, why did these people still come knowing that they can't be cured? It's just that you're kind-hearted, so that they can live a few more days. Mo-san was a little sorrowful. These poor people come to look for medicine to cure the cancer. If there's any hope, why should they let it go? They want to live as long as possible. This way I will be able to face Senior. Mo Jinrong spoke softly. If this goes on, the company funds will run out again. This box of medicine is only a few dozen yuan, and we will only be able to earn a few thousand yuan at night. It really can't make ends meet, Mo-san said worriedly. If it doesn't work, we can take it from the Mo Corporation. At most, we can make a few accounts that won't be exposed. Just as Mo Jinrong finished speaking, he heard a noise beside him. Don't move, there's someone. He was very vigilant. As soon as Ann arrived into the alley, she was attracted by the expressions of the people who came out. Although they were all wearing masks, the joy at the corner of their mouths couldn't be concealed. This wasn't the case when she entered. Mo Jinrong, there's people around. Did you hear wrong? Mo-san said carelessly. No, these people are rushing to get the medicine, but this person has light footsteps and doesn't seem to be here to buy the medicine. Mo Jinrong had good hearing and could tell the severity of one's footsteps. What should we do? Mo-san asked. Wait, I want to see what she wants. Mo Jinrong spoke in a deep voice. Ayn Rand successfully blended into the crowd. These people had joy, anticipation, and seemed to be very happy. Which one do you want? Mo Jinrong was the first to speak. Ayn Rand found the voice familiar, but it came from a car not far away. There were curtains drawn on the car, and there wasn't any plates. The car was dark, and she couldn't see anyone. She didn't say anything, but pointed to the medicine and put 2 fingers. Mo-san was about to distribute the medicine when Mo Jinrong stopped him. We're not selling it to you. Ayn Rand was a little surprised. She stood aside in a daze and continued to gesture with her hands. She wanted to buy the medicine. Are you really here to buy medicine? Mo-san asked. Ayn Rand realized that she had been exposed and wanted to run. Mo-san reached out to grab her, but pulled off a button, allowing her to escape. Young master, we didn't catch her. Mo-san returned. It's right. Continue to distribute the medicine. Mo Jinrong spoke unhurriedly. Mo-san passed down the order. Young master, I obtained one of her buttons. The person's hand seems to be injured. I think I found some gauze. It's her? Send someone to chase after her. Mo Jinrong gave the order. At this moment, the people who brought the medicine realized that Ayn Rand wanted to ruin the purchase and prepared to chase her. The rules of the black market is that if you're not buying, you shouldn't sabotage the sales. You would be blacklisted and never allowed to enter this place. Ayn Rand quickly ran and was glad she wasn't caught. Boss, run! The people from the black market are catching up. Before Ayn Rand could catch her breath, she continued to run. Damn it, are they Cheyenne Tyan's men? She asked breathlessly. Probably. Fatty replied and planned the route for Ayn Rand. Boss, turn right ahead and turn left at the crossroad. There's a small road and Skinny will drive to pick you up. The person behind was chasing closely, looking well trained. Ayn Rand ran to the path, and when she saw Skinny, she got into the car decisively and left. Boss, what's the result? Skinny asked. Nothing. Cheyenne Tyan is too cunning. Did you buy the medicine I told you to? Ayn Rand asked. Don't worry, Fatty brought it this morning and has sent it to the villa, Skinny said. All right, test it as soon as possible. Before I leave, I want the results. Ayn Rand touched her clothes, which were torn by the person. Chapter 164. Unspoken Rules. Boss, Cheyenne Tyan is an old fox. He discovered you among that many people. Skinny found it unbelievable. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to have been undetected in Wrong City all these years. Ayn Rand found the voice familiar, but couldn't remember who it was. When she returned home, it was already 1 a.m. Ayn Rand washed up and went to bed. Mo Jinrong couldn't sleep the entire night, and there was a text from Rong Zi on his phone. Q has news that she's going to South City. Do you want to follow? Mo Jinrong didn't intend to cause trouble for Q, but Q had come knocking on his door, so he couldn't be blamed. Follow? However, Rong Zi will go to City. However, Rong Zi will go to South City to look for Q. He wanted to keep an eye on Ayn Rand. For some reason, he felt that Ayn Rand had a secret, and he had to find out. Due to the slow analysis of the composition of the medicine, Ayn Rand went to the countryside to continue her research, since she had nothing to do. Zhao Shimi, on the other hand, didn't cause any trouble, and had been taking of Yaxin. It was much quieter. Seeing that the exams were approaching, but Yaxin couldn't move her arm, she was frustrated that she couldn't even walk, let alone take the test. Mom, Dad, Grandma, what should I do? Yaxin was upset. Good girl, don't be upset. You'll be better in a few days. Lan Tingyi comforted her. Tingyi, have you found the person who harmed Yaxin? Zhao Shumi asked urgently. It had been several days and there wasn't any news at all. Mom, I asked the police, but there's no news. The person seems to have disappeared. Let's wait a little while longer. Lan Tingyi sighed. Wait? Can Yaxin wait? We have to find the person as soon as possible and get the compensation. How long has it been? Ayn Rand has been very happy these past few days. Our Yaxin is so pitiful. Look at the wound on her small face. It's all swollen. Zhao Shumi said heartbrokenly. Grandma, the test is about to start. What should I do? I want to take the test. I don't want to lose to Ayn Rand. Yaxin started to cry. Good granddaughter, you have always been the best in Grandma's heart. Zhao Shumi comforted her. Daughter, I'm afraid you can't take the test. But isn't Ayn Rand going to take the test? She's so good at the test. I'll discuss it with her and get her to write your name during the test. Wouldn't that give you results? Xu Yanshan spoke. Mom, will that work? She'll definitely won't agree. Yaxin guessed. She has to agree, even if she doesn't want to. Right, hubby? Xu Yanshan looked at Lan Tingyi. Yes, don't worry about it. We have a way to get her to agree, so just recuperate and don't think too much. Lan Tingyi made a solemn vow. Tingyi, do as you deem fit. Zhao Shumi smiled and said. She knew what Tingyi was thinking and knew that she should suffer. Mom, Dad, when can I be discharged? Yaxin desperately wanted to go home and have a look. She hadn't seen her appearance in a long time. Here, Xu Yanshan had kept all mirrors away. She didn't know what had happened to her. You'll be discharged in a few days when you get better. Xu Yanshan smiled and said. She looked at her daughter's swollen face with a few deep scars and was furious. Ayn Rand had to pay. After returning home from the hospital, Lan Tingyi and his wife were thinking of ways to make Ayn Rand suffer. They had contacted old Fifth Wong, a well-known gambler. One could imagine the consequences if a weak woman like Ayn Rand fell into the hands of a gambling addict. Hubby, is old Wang reliable? Xu Yanshan was worried. Don't worry, he was in the South a few years ago and joined the Mafia. He has some ability, and that brat Ayn Rand won't be able to escape. Lan Tingyi smiled. Find a chance to teach that brat a lesson and vent our frustrations. Xu Yanshan was furious. I've spoken to him. He won't betray us even if he is caught. I promised to give him some money to support his mother. Lan Tingyi continued. Idiot, how do you think we can pay for the money? You can't even feed yourself, and you're giving money to support his mom? Xu Yanshan was a little dissatisfied. You're the silly one. I didn't say how much I would give. He gambled whenever he could, but he never won. He doesn't have the ability to support his mother, but he has a good conscience. If I give him a little money, his mother can live for a few years. He wouldn't know, right? Lan Tingyi smiled and hooked Xu Yanshan's nose. You're smart. I want to see what else Ayn Rand has this time, Xu Yanshan said evilly. But we have to hurry. She'll be taking the test in a few days. We can't let anything go wrong. Lan Tingyi made his plan. You're right. The 20,000 yuan from before has been paid for Yaxin's medical bills. I don't have any money. Go ask Mom. Xu Yanshan suddenly remembered. How could I escape the money from Mom again? Lan Tingyi was a little embarrassed. You think I'm not embarrassed? Tell Mom that you don't have money to buy nutritional supplements for Yaxin. She'll definitely give it to you. If worst comes to worst, tell Mom that you want a second child. She'll definitely give it to you. Xu Yanshan poked Lan Tingyi. She had a pair of phoenix eyes, woolly eyebrows, small face, and small cherry lips. It made Lan Tingyi restless. I really want a second child. I want one now. Tingyi pounced on Xu Yanshan. Chapter 165, discussing the script in the room. In a blink of an eye, it was Yan Rand's turn to film. His partner was an old actor, Fu Guosheng. He loved taking advantage of others and was good with both men and women. This was something everyone in the industry knew, but no one exposed it. Your name is Lan Yanran? Fu Guosheng spoke first. He eyed Yanran, nodded, and smiled. Yes, teacher, I'm a newbie. Please guide me. Yanran smiled brightly. Youth knows no fear. So he didn't know about the future. When others looked at him with pity, he didn't notice it either. Sure, we have a shooting tonight. You and I will discuss the script in our room. Fu Goxing agreed swiftly. Yanran found it odd. It was inevitable that the two men would feel embarrassed discussing the script in the room. He smiled politely and rejected. Mr. Fu, there are just a few lines. We can rehearse outside. Yanran, come and change your clothes. The fashion assistant Wu King couldn't bear to watch and said. Every female or male actor in the production team had suffered at Fu Goxing's hands, including the staff. There wasn't a single person who wasn't innocent. Wu King was a kind-hearted person and couldn't bear to see such a young hunk reduced to such a state. Sis Wu, what am I changing into? Yanran ran over innocently. Don't get close to Fu Goxing. He likes to get along with both men and women. The entertainment circle is very messy. You're just a greenhorn. You must be careful. There isn't anyone in the production team that hasn't been harmed by him. You have to be careful. Wu King reminded him softly. Mr. Fu, Sis Wu, you... Yanran was a little surprised that he had almost been taken advantage of just now. Ahem. Xiaolan, are you dressed? It's time for the shoot. Fu Goxing shouted from outside. Okay, got it. I'll be right there. Yanran was at a loss and started to stutter. Don't be nervous and act normally. Pretend you don't know. I have a bad temper and he won't dare to provoke me. Wu King arranged the clothes and gave one to Yanran for him to change into. Yanran nodded, changed his clothes, and left. Fu Goxing's eyes were glowing when he saw Yanran. It was as though he had seen a small prey. He couldn't wait to capture him and turn him gay. Yanran, let's rehearse the scene. You and I will be taking a bath in the bathhouse. Shall we go over there to act? Fu Goxing asked softly. Teacher Fu, there isn't any scene in the script, though. Yanran frowned. I added it. I have the backing, and the entertainment industry is filled with capitalism. You just have to act well with me and cozy up to me. I will give you lots of resources in the future. Fu Goxing was deliberately reminding Yanran. Thank you, Mr. Fu. I think you don't know how realistic the entertainment circle is. You would have a better career when you have a financer. That's when they respect you. You should listen to me. I know that you joined by Lu Tai Entertainment and they think very highly of you, but I can promise you that they will bully you. Won't they pamper you forever? You can't, right? That's why you have to suck up to me. I can as long as you and I. Fu Goxing stretched out his hand as he spoke, wanting to hug Yanran. Mr. Fu, let's go film. The director is going to be anxious. Yanran dodged cleverly and walked away. His heart was beating rapidly, and he was on the verge of breaking down. This place was inhumane. Fu Goxing wasn't angry. He had seen many fresh meat celebs like him, but in the end, they still snuck up to him, didn't they? Yanran had good skills, and his image passed the cut in one go. Yanran, you don't have any more scenes in the afternoon. Come back tonight, Director Wang Ming said. Thank you, Director. Yanran was about to leave when Fu Goxing walked over and spoke with a smile. Young man, you did well, but there are some areas that aren't good enough. Let's go. I have no more scenes to film. Come back with me and I'll teach you while we rehearse. Teacher, I'm sorry, I have something going on. Maybe next time. Yanran declined politely. Fu Goxing was displeased. What's wrong? Do you despise me or are you afraid of me? Yanran was nervous and he hurriedly waved his hand. No, teacher, I didn't. Then just follow me. I won't eat you. I'll just teaching you some knowledge so that you can act well. Look at you. You're acting as though I'm going to eat you. Fu Goxing pulled Yanran, wanting to leave. Although Yanran resisted, he was still a newbie, and if he offended an old actor, his future would be difficult. All right, thank you, Teacher Fu. Yanran had no choice but to agree. When they arrived at Fu Goxing's hotel, Yanran pretended to go to the toilet and secretly sent Yanran a message. Sis, help, I'm about to meet An unspoken rule. He's going to bed me. Yanran was furious when she saw the news. In her past life, Yanran was tortured badly by an old woman too. This time, she couldn't let it happen again. "Where are you?" she replied calmly. "Green Hotel. There's a crew filming here. Room 302. The moment Yanran posted this, Fu Goshing started to rush him. "Yanran, are you done? Mr. Fu, I ate something bad. Wait for me." Chapter 166, Testifying for Him. Yanran stayed in the washroom for a long time, making Fu Goshing anxious. "Yanran, are you ready? Come out." Alright, I'm taking a shower." Yanran tried to drag out the time. He turned on the tap so that Fu Goshing could hear the water. "More troublesome than a woman," Fu Goshing said impatiently. Just then he heard the sound of high heels coming from the door. It stopped right in front of Goshing's door, and she knocked lightly. "Who is it?" Fu Goshing didn't open the door. He was asking through it. "Sir, please open the door. I'm here to serve you." The woman's voice was soft and long, arousing Fu Goshing's desire. He tried to look at the woman outside through the peephole. She had heavy makeup and her small face was exquisite and beautiful. He opened the door reluctantly, and the woman stood seductively in the doorway. "Sir, may I come in?" "Of course." Fu Goshing had a solemn expression as he looked outside the room. After confirming that there was no one around, he nodded and agreed. Yanran had heard the voice and made no movement in the washroom. He knew that his sister would come to save him. Suddenly, he received a text from Yanran. "Run after Fu Goshing falls asleep." Outside the door, the woman had long hair that reached her waist and a beautiful figure. She took out a small bottle of medicine from her bag and gave it to Fu Goshing. "Sir, you can have this first. You will be satisfied with the rest of the service." "Alright, Yanran, hurry, I'll be waiting." Fu Goshing smiled, took the medicine, drank a mouthful, hugged the woman, and started to caress her. In less than 2 minutes, Fu Goshing fell onto the bed, dizzy. Yanran opened the door with a crack and saw that Fu Goshing was asleep. He hurriedly opened the door and ran out. After the woman had installed the camera, she started her work. "Sis, who is that woman?" Yanran ran out. Yanran received him at the door. "Fu Goshing's admirer. You won't have to care about it. Just wait and see." Yanran took Yanran and left in a car. 2 hours later, Fu Goshing woke up in bed and was alone in the room. He looked at himself and smiled in satisfaction, not caring where Yanran had gone. "Sis, it was too scary just now. Are these the unspoken rules of the entertainment circle? I was almost ruined." Yanran felt a lingering fear when he thought about it. "Don't worry. Don't be scared. I'll be here to protect you." Yanran caressed his little head and smiled. There was a vague killing intent to her eyes, which Yanran didn't see. After returning home, Yanran went upstairs and took out her phone to send a message to Fatty. "I want Fu Goshing to pay the price. Contact that woman, upload the video online, and find all the people that Fu Goshing bullied in the past to testify. I'm not letting him go even if I have to pay a high price." Yanran's expression became more ruthless, and the killing intent in her eyes was obvious. "Yes, boss," Fatty replied swiftly. Yanran pretended to be fine and continued to film the night scene with Fu Goshing. Next day, Fu Goshing made the headlines and was on Weibo the entire day. "What happened?" Fu Goshing panicked and shouted in Chang Mu's office. "Mr. Fu, don't be anxious. What has this got to do with Lan Yanran? Why are you here in such a hurry?" Chang Mu didn't understand. Fu Goshing hurriedly ran over to make a scene, but it was clearly Fu Goshing's scandal. It had nothing to do with Yanran. "How can I not be anxious? This matter is completely fabricated. I know you're optimistic about Lan Yanran. He knows what happened that day. Ask him to come out, and I want him to be my witness. This is all fake." Fu Goshing's lifelong reputation was ruined by this woman. Yanran, a greenhorn, probably wouldn't take the risk of offending him and take his future as a joke. Chang Mu was a little dumbfounded. He called for Lan Yanran over. "Yanran, how much do you know about Teacher Fu?" "Yanran, you were here with me yesterday, right? You can't lie," Fu Goshing said anxiously. Mr. Mr. Fu, don't be anxious. Don't worry, I'll be your witness. You can call for a press conference first. I know that you're an experienced actor, and you must care a lot about your reputation. You can't let them accuse you of such a thing. Don't worry, I will definitely be present, and when the time comes, I will definitely be able to prove what kind of person you are. Yan wanted to tell the truth, but on second thought, a lot of people would be in trouble if such a beast-faced old thing was still in the industry, so you might as well make a big deal out of it. See that? I'm innocent. Yan, the press conference will start in the afternoon. You can't be absent. Don't worry, as long as you help me transcend this tribulation, I promise I'll give you my resources. Fu Gosheng held Yan Ren's hand and spoke excitedly. All right, Teacher Fu, you can go back first. Yan Ren smiled and said. After Fu Gosheng left, Chang Mu spoke. Yan Ren, you're a good seedling. Everyone in Fu Gosheng's circle knows who he is. He has a powerful backing. Do you really want to testify for him? Manager, I have discussed this with Sis Long, and she has agreed. Don't worry, I won't testify blindly. I have the evidence, Yan Ren said with confidence. Chapter 167, She was kidnapped again. Long King was his manager, a well-known manager in the circle, so her decision couldn't be wrong. Yesterday, you and Fu Gosheng, Manager, don't ask anymore. Tomorrow, I will clear things up through the media, and you will know. Yan Ren smiled and said, Okay, you can go. Chang Mu let Yan Ren go and called for Mo Jinrong. Hello, Boss Mo. There's a small problem with Yan Ren. Is it about Fu Gosheng? The voice on the other end was icy cold, without a trace of emotion. Yes, Yan Ren is going to testify for Fu Gosheng. The financer behind him is a higher-up of the Mo Corporation. What if something goes wrong? Chang Mu was a little worried. Interesting, don't worry about it. We'll see tomorrow. That person isn't in charge of Mo Corporation. Mo Jinrong hung up after speaking coldly. Young master, are you ignoring Lan Yanren? Mo-san asked. The Lan family isn't simple. I want to see if Lan Yanren is like his sister. Mo Jinrong frowned and said, Young master, we haven't found the person in the black market yet. I suspect they had an accomplice. I knew it. The medicine is temporarily suspended. Go back and report their reactions to the medicine to me. Young master, Jin Lin from the Wrong City Medical Research Institute sent a message saying that the difficulty of the test will be increased by 3 levels and that it will be held in Langxi County. Mo-san replied respectfully. Okay, we'll go when Ayn Rand leaves. Mo Jinrong planned to keep a close eye on Ayn Rand and perhaps find some clues. But the Lin family's data has arrived and our herbs have to be sent. We've been waiting for the drug test. If you want to leave, who will supervise us? Mo-san asked curiously. You. Mo Jinrong spoke softly. Me? I can't. Young master, please let me off. How long has it been since I left Wrong City? Mo-san looked pitiful. I'll raise your salary 3 times. Mo Jinrong didn't even bat an eyelid. I will complete the mission. Mo-san agreed readily. He has not raised the salary in such a long time. Since it was tripled, there is no point in leaving for Langxi County. It isn't as simple as supervising when I ask you to stay. Keep a close eye on Mo Chang-wen. He did calm down after I warned him the previous time, but I don't know what trouble he will cause once I'm gone. Report to me if anything happens. Mo Jinrong looked at Mo-san and said, Alright, I know that it wouldn't be simple. Mr. Mo is too difficult to deal with. Why don't I visit old Mrs. Mo more often? With Mo Jinrong gone, he didn't have a backing and couldn't help but feel a little uncertain. Old Mrs. Mo was the biggest elder in the Mo family, and with her around, Mo Chang-wen wouldn't be able to do anything. Up to you, but I should visit old Mrs. Mo before leaving, Mo Jinrong planned and said. Young master is right. Master Z is in South City for several days, and there hasn't been any news. I wonder how he is doing. Mo-san estimated that it had been a few days, and there wasn't any news at all. That wasn't normal. He must have been scammed. That's why there wasn't any news. Otherwise, with his personality, he would have reported the good news. Mo Jinrong gasped. You're right, young master. I'll get going. Mo-san left excitedly. Mo Jinrong was thinking about his trip to Langxi County. The next day, Ayn Rand took the usual route to school. Today, the driver had something to do and took the day off, so Ayn Rand walked to the school. When she arrived to a small path, she felt someone following her behind. Their tracking skills were poor, although she noticed that she didn't make any big movements. "Stop!" Old Fifth Wong chided from behind Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand turned around and looked at Old Wong with a smile. "Uncle, what's the matter?" "Of course you're prettier than the photos." Old Wong had never seen such a beautiful woman and couldn't control the agitation in his heart. "Uncle, have you seen my photos?" Ayn Rand frowned, not knowing who she had offended again. "Of course, come with me." Old Fifth Wong raised the gun and pointed it at Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand didn't expect him to have a gun. She didn't know if it was real or fake, but she could only follow him. "Uncle, where are we going?" Ayn Rand raised her hand. Without a word, Old Fifth Wong tied Ayn Rand up with a rope and pulled her into his rental apartment. "The young lady is quite pretty." Old Fifth Wong gently raised Ayn Rand's chin with the gun. "Uncle, I don't know you. Why did you kidnap me?" Ayn Rand spoke innocently. "Why? It's because of money. Don't worry, I won't hurt you. As long as you cooperate with me, I'll treat you well." Old Fifth Wong looked at Ayn Rand wretchedly. Ayn Rand wasn't afraid. She was much more ruthless than he imagined. "How do you want me to cooperate?" Ayn Rand asked. Old Wong suddenly became serious. "Why don't you follow me? I'll take care of you. Look at how soft-skinned you are. You can lead a good life with me. Although I don't have any diamonds, I can provide with you food or water, as long as you listen to me. Tell me, where should I be obedient?" Ayn Rand was very calm and kept staring at the gun in his hand. It looked quite realistic and should be real. Chapter 168, The Toad Wishes to Eat Swan Meat. "It's simple. You're going to the test in 2 days, right? I hope you can write Lan Yaxon's name on the test paper and leave with me. I promise you a good life." Old Fifth Wong smiled. He was missing a front tooth and had a mouthful of yellow teeth. He was hideous without a single strand of hair on his head. "Did my uncle hire you?" Ayn Rand was puzzled. "No, little girl, this is a profitable business. Once you're with me, I'll buy you whatever you want." Old Wang smoked as he said, "You kidnapped me. Will Lan Ting be able to give you money or something?" "Do you really think he can give you what he said?" Ayn Rand smiled and said. "Lan Ting wouldn't lie to me. I don't have the ability to take care of my mom. I just can't watch her starve to death. He said that he could take care of her and give her money for her retirement." Old Fifth Wong said confidently, "If you don't have the ability to take care of a mom, why can you take care of me? I'm not a little kitten or a little puppy that can live after eating a bowl of rice. Do you really believe in Lan Ting? He still needs to rely on his mom's retirement fee to survive. How can he take care of your mom? Don't you know this? If you let me go now, I won't call the police. I'll let you off on the account that your mom needs someone to take care of. You won't be able to turn back when the police come." Ayn Rand persuaded as she took the rope. Old Wang thought for a moment. "I won't listen to your nonsense. Lan Ting told me everything. You're a cunning girl, but that doesn't matter. If you don't behave today, I'll beat you until you do." "You want to hit me?" Ayn Rand looked at the gun by the side, wanting to think of a way to get it. "Don't worry, this gun won't hit you for the time being. If you're willing to let Yaxon's name appear on the test paper in 2 days, I won't hit you. But if you're unwilling, don't blame me for not showing mercy," Old Wang threatened. Lan Ting had a pretty good imagination. In her past life, Lan Ting had done such things, but it was voluntary. Yaxon had obtained scholarly honors when she had nothing. She wouldn't be so foolish this time. "He wants me to write Yaxon's name in her dreams." Ayn Rand didn't hesitate, as she said, "You don't agree?" Old Wang picked up the gun and placed it again in Ayn Rand's head, glaring at her. "The gun is fake, right? I'm afraid that there aren't any bullets inside." The moment that the gun was placed on Ayn Rand's head, she could feel that the muzzle was smooth. Unless it was a new gun, when the old gun was used, the muzzle would gradually become rough from the friction from the bullets. The muzzle was smooth and even had a hint of plasticky texture. She could only take a gamble. If she lost, she would die here. "What nonsense are you saying? Do you really see the power of this gun?" Old Fifth Wang spoke nervously. "Yes, kill me if you dare." Ayn Rand spoke calmly, her heart beating rapidly. Old Wang hesitated for a moment before smiling. Ha, old Singy told me before that you were a shrewd girl. I didn't expect you to know this. That's right, it's fake. He threw the gun in his hand aside and eyed Ayn Rand. You'd better let me go or you'll be miserable. Ayn Rand's words sounded like a threat, but they were interesting to old Wang. You want to lie to me? It seems that you don't want to be with me. Let me have some fun first. Old Wang pounced on her as soon as he finished speaking. Wait, untie me first. I don't know how to run. Where can a weak woman like me run to? Wouldn't it be better if I cooperated with you? Ayn Rand smiled and raised an eyebrow at old Fifth Wang. Wang Liwu thought for a moment. Since Ayn Rand had agreed, she wouldn't be able to escape looking so soft and weak. All right, behave yourself. Old Wang took a puff, crushed a cigarette, and untied Ayn Rand. Uncle, can you let me go? Ayn Rand asked again. No. Old Fifth Wang was about to pounce on Ayn Rand, who turned swiftly, and he missed. A toad lusting after swan meat. Today I'll show you how miserable the toad's death is. Ayn Rand looked at old Fifth Wang mockingly. Old Fifth Wang seemed to be enraged as he pounced over with furious eyes. He didn't believe that he couldn't deal with a weak girl. Ayn Rand grabbed the stool by the side and smashed it at old Fifth Wang. Before old Wang could dodge, the metal stool smashed into his chest and he fell to the ground. Rookie! Ayn Rand grabbed old Fifth Wang's collar and twisted his arm. Old Wang begged for mercy in pain. Madam, please forgive me. I was wrong. I didn't do this deliberately. Lan Tingyi only wanted me to kidnap you. If you don't agree to write Yaxin's name on the test paper, he wants me to beat you to a pulp. I didn't do anything because you were pretty. Please forgive me. I have a mother to feed. I didn't do it on purpose. I can let you go, but you can't tell anyone about what happened today. Don't you want money? I can help you get some from Lan Tingyi. You've done your job, so you can't do it for free, right? Call and tell Lan Tingyi that it's settled. Ask him to send some money over. Chapter 169, Letting Out Steam. Ayn Rand wanted to trick Lan Tingyi, as this was the price for provoking her. She let go of old Fifth Wang. He was prepared to go to jail, but now he didn't have to go to jail and could earn money. This was beyond his expectation. He ignored the pain and had hurriedly called Lan Tingyi. Hey, Brother Lan, I've done what you've asked me to. That brat didn't agree at first, so I beat her up to vent your frustrations. Do you think the rest of the money can be settled? Old Fifth Wang's lying skills were honed from a young age and couldn't be seen through at all. Lan Tingyi was a little hesitant when he received the call. Old Fifth Wang was the best at lying, and he didn't believe his words. He wanted to see the evidence. Brother Wang, send me the photos of the scene. I'll transfer the money to your mom's bank card. Old Fifth Wang was a little troubled as he turned to look at Ayn Rand. Unexpectedly, Ayn Rand took a bunch of cosmetics from her red bag and carefully applied them to various areas of her body. All right, brother, I'll hang up first. I'll take a photo and send it to you. We can talk on WeChat later. Old Fifth Wang hung up the phone and watched in disbelief as Ayn Rand applied some makeup to her face. Tie me up. Ayn Rand spoke to old Wang after putting on her makeup. Thinking that someone would help him earn money, old Wang was naturally willing to and nodded happily. He then took many photos for Lan Tingyi. Lan Tingyi received the photos and shared them with Xu Yanshan and Zhao Shimi. He was overjoyed. Mom, honey, look, these photos were just sent. The girl's injuries aren't any lighter than Yaxin's. Good, this is great. I didn't expect that brat to have such a day. This is exhilarating. Zhao Shimi didn't feel the slightest heartache. Instead, she applauded and all her unhappiness dispersed at an instant. That's great. Ayn Rand, that brat, is injured as badly as our daughter. She can't take the test anymore. If our daughter can't take the test, she won't be able to either. Xu Yanshan felt that she had let off some steam. Tingyi, will she be alright with such a serious injury? We can vent our frustrations, but we can't kill anyone. Zhao Shimi said, worried. I'll ask again. Lan Tingyi sent a message to old Fifth Wang. Brother Wang, were you caught? No, I'm fine. I caught her on a small path, and no one knows for now. Old Wang replied slowly. Ayn Rand saw that Lan Tingyi had believed it. She untied the ropes and used the makeup remover to remove the wounds from her body. That girl probably won't die. I won't be responsible if someone dies. Lan Tingyi cleared his name first. Don't worry, the girl's injuries are superficial. I know the severity of my beating, and her life definitely isn't in danger. Brother Lan, hurry and get me the money. Old Wang was anxious to get money, afraid that Lan Tingyi would go back on his word. Lan Tingyi was afraid that Old Fifth Wang would report him, so he transferred 10,000 yuan to the Old Fifth Wang, hoping to silence him. After transferring so much money, Zhao Shumi and Xu Yanchen felt the pinch. Tingyi, is there any need to transfer so much money? Zhao Shumi couldn't take it anymore. She hadn't spent 10,000 yuan recently. Mom, an abduction isn't a small matter. What if Old Wang reports me in one day in anger? I won't be able to take it if I go to jail again. Xu Yanchen thought about it and agreed. The kidnapping case wasn't a small matter, and they had beaten her up. They should give him a little more money. Hubby, go ahead. This isn't a small matter. Lan Tingyi swiftly transferred 1,000 yuan to Old Fifth Wang's bank card. Old Wang was a little excited. This was the first time he had such a large sum of money. He couldn't even hold his phone properly. Little girl, you're really something. What else do you have to teach me? I have an 80-year-old mother to raise. I need money. Old Wang struggled once, wanting more. Ayn Rand's injury makeup was basically removed. She walked to her bag and spoke. Take this money and buy some food for your mom. Use this money to do a small business. If you run out of money, you can use this incident to pester Lan Tingyi. I won't call the police. You can deal with the rest yourself. It has nothing to do with me. She looked at her watch and saw that it was about time for class that had already finished. There were only 2 classes today, and it would be too late to rush over now. She might as well go home. Old Wang seemed to be received the advice. He wasn't satisfied with the 10,000 yuan, as he was almost jailed because of Lan Tingyi, and he almost lost an arm. The matter couldn't end like this. Back at home, Ayn Rand's phone rang, showing the news. Fu Guoxing is holding a press conference regarding the hotel scandal. Ayn Rand suddenly remembered that Fu Guoxing was the man who bullied Yan Ran last time. She clicked the link to the live stream of the press conference. Fu Guoxing had just entered and sat down. He looked at the large group of reporters below the stage. He didn't retreat, but the confident smile appeared on his face. Cameras flashed in the audience, and the reporters were eager to raise various questions. Chapter 170, Press Conference. Everyone, don't be anxious. We have plenty of time to ask questions later. The press conference hasn't started yet, so calm down. Fu Guoxing's manager, Li Hong, smiled and comforted all the reporters. They were actually waiting for Yan Ran. If he hadn't come, the press conference wouldn't have been able to proceed. At this moment, a staff member ran over to inform Li Hong that Yan Ran was already backstage. She nodded and called for a press conference without worry. Dear reporter, friends, the press conference has begun. Regarding this incident, Mr. Fu has a witness that can prove our innocence. The video online is completely fabricated and that isn't real. Please don't believe it. Li Hong spoke first, followed by Fu Guoxing. I, Fu Guoxing, have always been a wise man that had been in the entertainment circle for more than 30 years. This time, I don't know who started the rumor, and I don't know who I offended that they were going to frame me like this. I haven't done it, and that's the truth. I have my lawyer send a letter to the person who started the rumor and bring him to court. Fu Guoxing's words caused a stir among the reporters. Mr. Fu, you have been in the entertainment circle for more than 30 years. The person in the video is very clear, and there aren't any traces of editing in the video. Where is the witness you spoke of? A male reporter with signs stood up and asked. That is where I'm going to say next. His name is Lan Yan Ran, and he is with me the entire day. We were discussing the script, and he is a newbie. His acting skills are really good, and he's a good seedling. I have the intention to nurture him. Fu Guoxing got someone to bring Lan Yan Ran out. Yan Ran walked over generously, looking calm and unhurried. He didn't have a single stage fright and faced many media reporters below the stage. He bravely spoke the truth. Hello, everyone. I am Lan Yan Ran, a newbie. I was there and I saw everything. Fu Guoxing looked at Yan Ran with satisfaction, a smile on his face. Mr. Lan, can you tell us whether or not this is true, as well as the situation at that time? A female reporter stood up. Of course, yes, the video is real. Fu Guoxing did indeed have sex with this woman in the video. The audience exploded after Yan Ren's finished speaking. The smile on Fu Guoxing's face faded, and he became scarily gloomy. Lan Yanren, what nonsense are you saying? I didn't. Fu Guoxing slammed the table, his expression horrifying. He was no longer the gentle and kind old actor from before. No, back then you called me over to discuss the script, but in reality you were trying to sleep with me. I hid in the washroom and didn't make any sound. Who knew he would ask a female fan out? Later, he took his medicine and did those things in the video with the fan. That is how I escaped. Lan Yanren described the scene in detail. The people below the stage recorded and took snapshots eagerly, as no one wanted to miss it. Nonsense. Did you find this person to frame me? I didn't ask her out. She came alone. Fu Guoxing let it slip, and he was so furious that he wanted to leave. At this moment, several people walked out, suddenly. 7 to 8 men and women stopped him. Who are you? Fu Guoxing looked at them with a dark expression. Mr. Fu, have you forgotten you bullied us before? Have you forgotten how I changed in the fitting room? The woman smiled. I don't know you. This is all fake, all rumors, Fu Guoxing shouted. Mr. Fu, these are the D-list actors. We wouldn't take the risk to frame you. Yan Ren shouted. Mr. Fu, what happened? Mr. Fu, didn't you say that this was just a rumor? Did you really do these things? Mr. Fu, please tell us. Did you not reject the woman when she came? Did you really assault these people? The reporters couldn't wait to hold the microphone to Fu Guoxing's mouth as they rushed over to speak. Sorry, we won't accept any questions from the reporters for the time being. Li Hong got the security officers to stop the reporters while she and Fu Guoxing hid in the back. Yan Ren and a few others left in the hall, still answering the reporters' questions. In the hotel's waiting room, bastard. Lan Yanren is still young and he wants to be in the limelight. Does he think he can become a star just by stepping on me? In his dreams, Fu Guo flushed with anger. Teacher Fu, how are we going to end this? These reporters are definitely going to write nonsense. We can cover up the past, but this time it has blown up. Li Hong was panicking. What do you mean? What am I going to do now? Same rules. Use money to shut them up. I'll put in a good word for the big boss. He will definitely save me. Fu Guoxing wanted to continue to lead a good life with the production team. Mr. Fu, during the press conference just now, there were at least 80, if not 100. You wouldn't give everyone 10,000 yuan. This much money. You got it. I'll pay. Damn it, Lan Yanren. I definitely won't let you off. Fu Guoxing clenched his fist. Crap, Li Hong shouted.